So it's a new day in Arkham. Let's see what brought our investigators here. Starting with Silas Marsh, the sailor. This ought to be good. Silas always felt the call of the ocean, even as a little boy. He loved to play in the waves. There was just something soothing and otherworldly about the sea that put him at ease in a way nothing else could. I wonder why. It came as no surprise to his family when Silas announced that he decided to become a sailor and travel the world. They'd actually been waiting for him to reach that conclusion for several years. Hmm. Would they be in league with the Deep Ones, I wonder? So he signed up with a merchant shipping company and spent the next few years gallivanting from one port to the next, seeing all the sights he could take in. Periodically, he would dream, of course, as at these times, his sleep was haunted with strange, ethereal visions of undersea vistas and bizarre creatures that smiled toothily at him. Must be deep ones. Gradually, he came to feel that there was something sinister about these dreams, and when he asked his family, they simply nodded and said, "It's time for you to visit the main branch of family in Innsmouth. They'll set you straight." 2 days later, as he disembarks from a ship at the Arkham docks, Silas can't help but find his family's remark just a little bit sinister. "Yeah, I foresee a grim and bitter fate for thee, Silas Marsh. You are in a rude awakening." And his personal story bit. Uh, focus. Focus. The more Marshes from the main branch of the family he met, the more uneasy. There it is. The more Marshes from the main branch of the family he met, the more uneasy Silas became. Their protruding, bulbous eyes and flat noses reminded him of something from his dreams. Increasingly, Silas began to think he should just get out of Innsmouth while he still could and learn to deal with the nightmares on his own. Yeah, probably best for you. But basically, he's here to consult his family over dreams, because he is probably a deep one. He just hasn't turned yet, and his family just wants him to join the fold. Next up, what brings Trish to Arkham? Let's find out. It seemed so surreal when she was approached by a recruiter after one of her gymnastic meets all those years ago. Somehow she had come to the attention of a nameless agency working for the government to protect the country. Never one to turn down a new challenge, Trish had eagerly signed up. One of the first things that they taught her is that there is strength in focus, in joining the mind to the body to exceed the whole. With her agile body, and formidable mind, she was soon one of their best spies. But recently, Trish has begun to wonder at the motives of the organization she works for. Are they really tied to the government? Or is she working for some sort of shadow society ruling the country from behind the scenes? Her quiet inquiries eventually led her to the small city of Arkham, Massachusetts. Normally, newspaper buildings are something that Trish avoids like the plague in her line of work, but standing in front of the Arkham Advertiser, she knows that this is her last lead. If the information she needs is anywhere, it ought to be here. So, she is primarily curious about the people, her employers, shadowy people they are. Are they connected with the old ones? Probably. And let's read her small personal story bit. Am I actually working for the government, or is the agency using me to undermine the real government? So she's basically paranoid. It's basically conspiracy, but it could be real. This was the key question that Trish set out to answer when she came to Arkham. Hopefully, she would find her answers in the archives of the Arkham Advertiser, but if not, perhaps she could try the Miskatonic University. Good idea considering her pass fail on that. I'll get to that later. I'm just doing the story bits. And next up is the ever beautiful violinist, Patrice Hathaway. What brings her to Arkham? Let's find out. All her life, Patrice has lived for her music. The soaring sonas, graceful auras, and the booming marches have always been her closest companions. But sometimes as she plays, she can sense something at the edge of her awareness, something that watches her and waits for what she doesn't know. The presence has been growing over the last month, and her increasing nervousness is starting to spoil her ability to play the violin. That's not something she can tolerate. So when an old gypsy she was swapping tunes with told her that she was being watched by an evil spirit, Patrice listened with somewhat less skepticism than she might have even a month ago. The gypsy referred her to a shop in Arkham that might have what she needs to get rid of the spirit. That explains why Patrice finds herself entering the curiosity shop this evening, feeling a little silly and more than slightly nervous. So an evil entity is hounding her and preventing her from playing her music. Maybe a Hound of Tyndalis? I'm not sure. She's not a time traveler. Some sort of thing from beyond, maybe. Reminds me of another short story by H.P. Lovecraft. And last but not... Oh, wait, we forgot her little extra story bit. Let's see. Whatever this presence was that kept hounding her, Patrice knew that she had to get rid of it before something unpleasant happened. According to her gypsy friends, somewhere in this town there is something that could help her, and she would find it at no matter what it took. So she's here to try to get the dodge of the evil spirit. Interesting. And of course, last but not least, Norman Withers. Let's see what the astronomer has to say. Oh yeah, the stars hold secrets both great and terrible for those with courage or curiosity enough to look. While Norman would never claim to be especially courageous, he'd be the first to admit that he has an inability to ignore a mystery. So when 6 stars vanished from the section of the sky he was studying, he couldn't just let it go. Not even when his colleagues told him he was just imagining things and sent him home to sleep it off. It took him years, not to mention the near death of his career, but he eventually found his answers in a book that none of his colleagues would be caught dead reading. In an ancient tome, it described the stars and the sequence in which they would vanish, even detailing the date when their disappearance would take place. It was a sign, the book said, of the end of everything. It was the harbinger of a great beast that would tear asunder all that man had wrought. Norman isn't sure what he could do to stop the beast from destroying the world. He knows that he isn't very strong, but if an answer can be found in the stars, then he will stand in the path of destruction until his dying breath. So he knows probably, yeah, the stars are right, and sure enough, Cthulhu and friends are here to play. So he probably is here for the right reasons. Everyone else has sort of more of a side story, but let's read his other additional bit. Norman knew that to prepare for the coming of the beast, aka Cthulhu, he'd have to delve deeper into an obscure places in lore. Ideally, if he could study the type of energies that were found in the beast's home dimension, he could perhaps discover a weakness. Wow, he's willing to go into the heart of darkness. Relay. But let's see about that. So that concludes the backstories of our characters and why they have come to this magnificent city of Arkham. Next, we will begin the game proper.